guys, welcome to my simple kitchen again. Today I'm going to be making a pot roast using my pork tenderloin or pork loin. Sometimes I use a pork tenderloin. Sometimes I use a sirloin tip, but most of the time I'll use a pork loin or pork tenderloin. What I've done is I've sprinkled it generously with salt and pepper on both sides. Oh, can you see me? There you are. And I have heated up a Dutch oven pot with some butter, probably 2 or 3 tablespoons. And what I'm going to do is get my tongs, and I am going to put my pork tenderloin inside this super hot pan, and I'm going to sear off all the sides of this tenderloin. Can you hear it? Good stuff. This is probably my son Michael's favorite dinner, is to have this tenderloin with a big pot of hot steaming fluffy mashed potatoes. My mashed potatoes are really good. You know, not to brag or anything, but I probably peel 8 to 10 mashed potatoes. And, you know, if you're watching your waistline, you probably don't want to make these, but with mashed potatoes, who wants to watch their waistlines, right? I will get, with 8 to 10 potatoes, boil them up, get an entire stick of butter, and 3/4 to a whole block of an 8-ounce cream cheese. Throw it all in there with some salt. Mix that bad daddy up. Add a little bit of milk or half and half to whatever your desired consistency is. And when I tell you that those mashed potatoes will make you want to slap your mama. Sorry, Mom. You know I'd never do that, but best mashed potatoes you will ever eat in your entire life. Okay, now my butter is starting to burn a little bit, so I'm going to put some olive oil in there with it, because olive oil has a higher burn level, and it'll help keep that butter from burning anymore. I probably should have added it before I did that. But this pork tenderloin, or pork loin, I keep saying tenderloin because normally I will use a smaller tenderloin, but my husband shopped for me and he brought home a pork loin, and it's a larger cut of meat, and he and my son, like I said, they love this meal, and so this is what he brought. I guess he figured a larger cut of meat, more leftovers. It makes a really good gravy afterwards, and so for leftovers we will have open sandwiches, or, you know, just more meat and gravy over mashed potatoes, whatever. But anyway, I don't know, can you see how nice and brown it is? It's really good. So what I'll do now is I will move this over. Sorry. I will move this to a paper plate temporarily, and I will take just a small little onion, and I will chop it up. I will chop up my little onion here, and you know, it doesn't have to be very consistent, you know, you don't have to have them all in the same pieces, but I'll chop them up kind of small, because that way, you know, the kids don't figure out that, oh, there's lots of onions in here, oh no. So I will chop this up like so. I have found a really easy way to chop up onions. You cut them in half, pull them over on their side, and then chop them sideways, lengthwise, almost all the way to the end, and then turn them around and chop them widthwise. And then I just give them a little rough chop once that's done, and voila, you have, look how fast I did that. Whoop, whoop. And then put these onions in the slightly brown butter and mix that around until they are clear, slightly browned. And I mean, what is better than that? Some onions. Ooh wee. And then I will take a couple of garlic cloves. If you want to watch, take a couple of garlic cloves, and when the onions are almost done, I will put the garlic cloves in there just to cook for a little while. But you don't want to put the garlic cloves in until the onions are almost done, because garlic tends to get a little bitter if it cooks for too long by itself. So it's okay if it's just kind of swimming around there in the broth, but if it's sauteing in butter, you don't want it to be in there for too long. But I'm sure those of you who watch the Food Network like I do already know that. This is a slippery little sucker, and his little coat doesn't want to come off. There we go. Okay, this is going really fast because it's hot. This pot was really hot to start with. I'm going to take this second. I'm going to take a minute right now while I'm chopping up this garlic. Hi. I'm going to take a minute. My niece, whose husband is stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, take this moment to say hello to my great nephews, Liam and Benjamin and Landon. They're the most awesome little boys ever, and they just recently came to visit. And I know they're watching, and they look forward to seeing my little videos. So, hey, sweet peas. I wish they were here to eat all my food and my little ice creams that I made yesterday, but I know I will see them soon. Their daddy's going to be taken off, and I will go there to keep them company for a little while. Maybe I'll make a video there with them to help me in the kitchen. Alright, so my garlic just has a little rough chop. My onions are almost completely soft and clear. So I'm going to just put it all in, give that a little stir, and let it cook for another minute or two. And this is such an easy recipe, and it makes such a wonderful meal, honestly. I'm going to set my pork loin back in there on top of those wonderful onions. You know, when I was little, I hated onions, like hated. I would literally cry if I would come in the kitchen and my mom was cooking, and I'd say, "What's for dinner, Mom?" And she would say, "Oh, let's say spaghetti." And I'd say, "Oh, I love spaghetti, yay!" And then I'd stop and say, "Wait, are there onions in there?" And she'd say yes, and I would cry. Sit down and cry because there were onions in the spaghetti sauce. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I guess I'm just a weirdo. So here we are again with my handy dandy Lipton onion soup mix. I never am without it because you can pretty much put it on anything. And I'm going to sprinkle it all on top of the onions and the pork and just let it sit. And then I'm going to take 2 cans of beef broth. I'm never without beef broth or chicken broth. I'm going to put that over on top of the pork and on top of the onions. 2 cans. Then I'm going to take one of my cans here, and I'm going to fill up my can with some water. And I'm going to put a whole can of water in my pot with all of this. And I'm going to bring it to a boil. And once that is brought to a boil, I'm going to put the top on it, and I'm going to let that bad daddy cook for 3-4 hours, depending on what I'm doing. It could cook for 5 hours with the top on. And then when it's done, I will take the tenderloin out, let it sit for at least 30 minutes. And there's this stuff called Pioneer brown gravy. Tastes like homemade. Hey, Adam. And this is the best brown gravy. It's as good as homemade as far as I'm concerned. And I will mix this up with a little bit of extra flour in one of these little plastic things. I'll put the top on, shake it, shake it, shake it with some cold water, and then I will slowly whisk it into the pork loin liquid until it is thickness that I want, and then I will put the loin back in, and honey, and then my dinner's ready. It is done. So anyway, good luck making your pork loin. I hope yours comes out as delicious as mine, and I hope you guys keep watching me in my simple kitchen. Bye, guys.